Hi guys and welcome to SAAB Cars. My name is Marcus and today we're going to take a look at the interior and all the features of the car. This is part 2 of the review series. You may have seen part 1, that's all about the exterior, but today it's all about the interior. So let's get started. So the car is locked and I have the remote actually, and it's in a leather cover that I ordered on AliExpress. It's actually for Cadillac, but it works for the SAAB 9.5 as well. As you can see, there are some symbols on the cover itself. The panic and the light up function, the boot, lock and unlock. And we're going to click on unlock button. The car unlocks. A feature that's not on this car is the passive entry system. And that's basically that you can record your fingerprint in the car. You can keep the key in the pocket while going to the car, putting your finger on the handle. The car unlocks. You have to have the key within range, of course. There are 2 remotes and they are connected to setting 1 and setting 2 on the seat, if you have a memory function in the car. So this stores the settings for the seat, the mirrors and the heads-up display. So if you have personalized that in some way, you will get them back when using your remote. So it's either 1 or 2. Let's get into the car and have a look. On the door you have different functions. You have the windows, front and the back, and of course the window lock feature for the back seats, so they can't use them. Mainly for kids. There are auto express up and down on all windows. You have in the door handle, you have ambient light. It's green, you can't see it right now, but in the evening it looks really nice. You also have some light here in the pocket in the door. Quite a big size pocket for, I don't know, stuff, 50 centiliter water bottle or something. You also have the functions for the mirrors, left, right and in the center. So, and if you press this down, the mirrors will start folding. And to be able to unfold, you just press it again. There is another feature that's called Comfort Open and Comfort Close. And Comfort Open unfolds the mirrors and opens up the windows, and the Close closes the windows and folds the mirrors. If we move on in the cabin to the left here, you have the heads-up display. You will choose different viewing modes, how much information you want on the heads-up display and so on. By turning this wheel you control the intensity of the display, and by pushing the button you control the different viewing modes. You can also adjust the viewing angle for the heads-up display depending on how tall you are or how high you're sitting in the seat and so on. The light controls, you have auto, and that's basically an option where the car will select the most appropriate setting for you, depending on the light outdoors. In some markets, like in Sweden, the auto mode always keep the headlights on. Then you can turn everything off by twisting the dial. That will turn the lights off completely. Then you can twist it to the right. Now you have parking lights. And it starts beeping because the door is open and the parking light is on. And then of course you have the headlight together with parking light as well. So now the xenon are on. So they light up and start calibrating. You also have the intensity of the lights in the cabin, in the instrument cluster, buttons and so on. And that's controlled here. Let's turn the electronics on by holding the button without pressing the brake pedal. Now everything turns on. As you can see, the instruments are on. Navigator is up and running. All the buttons light up. The car is hooked up right now to a battery charger, so there is no risk of running out of battery. And if we look behind the steering wheel, we have the controls here for the display in the center of the screen, as you can see. It shows that the door is open, and it will also show this altimeter describing the speed. And as you can see here in the graphic display, you have a green dot here, and that means that there are more pages. So to scroll through the pages, you just twist the wheel here, going backwards in this case. This is where you can control the traffic sign recognition. If you have navigation ongoing, it will display in here as well. You can set a distance, as with all onboard computers. You can view the average vehicle speed, the fuel consumption right now, and the average. Fuel range, how many kilometers will you be able to drive on this tank? And trip, of course. So if you reset this, you start at 0. And then we're back to the altimeter showing the speed. And you can go into menu mode as well, looking at some settings. And here you have the menu button. So let's press this. We go into vehicle information menu. The system is set for metric. We don't have any speed warning. Current battery voltage is 11.7. The car is not running, it's just charging. Remaining oil life 67%. So it means that the quality is 67%. When it's close to 0, it's time for a oil change. And here you can see the tire pressure. So the car has a tire pressure monitoring system, TPMS, that measures the pressure in each tire. Let's move back by pressing the menu again. Let's move on to the steering wheel functions. You have the reset or disable the cruise control. You have restore current speed. You have the set. So when you are in, for example, 100 kilometers and you want the speed to be set at that, you twist the wheel a bit to set, and you can decrease and increase the speed with this wheel as well. Here you turn on and off cruise control. You can see in the instrument. On the right side you have phone functionality. So this car is equipped with Bluetooth, which means that you connect your phone to the car and you will get all the information from the phone, calling lists, people in your address book and so on. This controls the phone and the voice recognition system as well. Here you have a hang up symbol and a mute symbol. So for hanging up the phone or muting the stereo. Here you control the different sources in the audio system. You press the wheel to cycle through the different audio sources. And you twist the wheel up or down to move between tracks, if it's CD or hard drive, and if it's radio you move between stations, up and down. And of course the volume up and volume down. Behind the steering wheel we have paddles for the automatic transmission, paddles that will follow the wheel. So you have to be observant, they're not fixed behind the wheel. Then on the right side you have washer, fluid, wiping system for the windscreen. As usual, nothing special. You can control the sensitivity of the rain sensor. So the car is obviously equipped with a rain sensor in the windscreen up here, behind this plastic cover. Let's take a look at the center of the car. You have warning lights, child lock for the doors in the back seat. You have unlock all doors and you have lock all doors. And of course a SAAB classic, it's night panel you have here. You all know what that does. It dims down the lights and turns off the screen, turn off certain parameters here in the instrument cluster, so it will only display speed, and when something important happens it will enable the displays and show the message. Here you have the navigation screen. It's a touch screen of course, so you can just touch these icons to enable the function. As you can see at the moment we're at hard drive, and you also have USB, you have auxiliary, and you have a AV input. I'm going to explain this a bit later. Here you have volume up and down, on off, radio, HDD, hard drive, DVD, auxiliary, multi-select tool, seek, rewind, forward, play, pause, and some tune. Of course you can skip tracks with this wheel as well. Here you have the nav button, so if you want to go into navigation mode, I press this and you get the map. Destination, you get to enter address, points of interest or last destinations. Moving back to audio is just a press away, either radio or HDD. The nav, if you have a destination that you have entered, the nav is still running in the background of course. Then you have back button if you want to move back. You may have selected something like config and you want to move back to the previous screen. Favorites for the radio, phone and mute. Eject button for the CD or DVD. A record button for recording music. You can record music onto the hard drive in the car, either from a CD or from a USB memory. Config button here. You can push that and you get into the configuration of the car for the radio, the nav, the display, the vehicle, sport, phone and time. So we have Bluetooth here, it's connected to my phone. You can change ringtone, for example. And down here you have the controls for the climate, temperature on the left side, AC on and off by pressing this in the center, heated seats, ventilated seats, auto mode, zone, and I can control the different zones in the car. So this is a 3-zone climate system. It has 2 zones in the front and 1 zone in the back. So if I want to control these, I can just push that button and change the temperature right here. Then I control all 3 zones. And of course you have the different controls for the climate control. And on the other side you have defroster for the window in the front and defroster for the window in the back. And the heated seats and the ventilated seats for the passenger. And also the temperature for the passenger and of course the recirculation button in the center. Moving down a bit, you have the control for the DriveSense system. So this car is equipped with DriveSense, which means that you have the possibility to control the gear pattern, when the car upshifts and downshifts, and the amount of power sent to the rear wheels, for example. If you want to change that, you can go into sport mode. It starts up in intelligent mode, and if you want the ride to be comfortable, you can choose comfort. This controls the dampers, the steering, the gear changes. Moving down here you have parking sensors that you can turn on and off. In the front, of course, the back is always on. You have advanced parking, which means that you can scan for a slot in the car and you can have the car assist you when parking. I have not actually tried this feature, but if it's enabled and you detect a spot, or the car detects a spot where you can park, it will show this information here. It will show that it has found a slot which fits the car, and then you get information on how to turn the steering wheel. So you just follow the guide in the display and hopefully you get a parking that's good enough. Let's continue down here. We have the lane departure warning, LDW, which means that if this is enabled and you cross a white line on the road without using the indicator, this will beep telling you that you have made something wrong. It's for your safety only, and the other people, of course, on the road as well. So it's quite good. It reminds you that you need to use the indicator lights when changing lane. This enables at speed higher than 60 kilometers per hour. Here we have the electronic parking brake. So if you want to enable it, you do this. If you want to disable it, you do this. And the car tells me now to step on the brake to release the park brake. Let's have a look at that again. So now I press the brake. And the electronic parking brake disengages. Let's enable it again. You can hear the sound of the motor enabling the parking brake. Then you have the start-stop button, which you saw before. So you don't use the key, you can keep the key in your pocket, or you can store it here in a dedicated area. Here you have some storage for the key, of course. Cup holders, 2 of them, which you can modify a bit if you have large cups or small cups. Cigarette outlet, I installed a dual USB charger there for different accessories. People in the car wanting to charge their phone. Let's move back a bit. Let's look at the center armrest. This can be adjusted. There are actually 2 levers here beneath. There are some models with 3, but I think that's for the cars that don't have rear seat entertainment package. So if I pull the outer one, the armrest rises. And I can just press it back. It falls into place, clicks. Below the armrest is a storage compartment. So if I pull the middle one here, you get to see this. USB, auxiliary, and some storage. Cigarette outlet for USB charging, and so on. So we have a glove department as well here. At the moment I have some spare parts, a microfiber towel, the manual for the car. This has a cooled area as well, so you can, in the summer you can put drinks here and the car will keep them cool for you. The car has a auto-dimming inner rear view mirror, and also the outside mirrors are auto-dimming, of course. That's extremely nice feature when driving at night. Here below the plastic cover you have the different systems for lane departure warning and of course the traffic sign recognition. Rain sensor as well. Quite complex things going on here. In this car all the lights have been converted to LED. You have a reading light for the driver and for the passenger. And you have the light that comes on when opening the doors. Or you can just turn this on when the doors are closed as well. Microphone for the hands-free. It's integrated here in this area. Visors with lights also have been converted to LED, of course. Let's go back to the audio system and the navigation. So you have 2013 maps available for this navigation unit. I know people are working on getting later maps, so let's keep our fingers crossed for that. It would be really nice to have, let's say, 2016 or 2017 maps, because so much things are going on in the traffic. If we move down to the config button, that's interesting. Let's see. Now you get the possibility of changing different modes in the car. For the radio, you can change speed dependent volume, look at different RDS options and DAB options, and yes, this car is equipped with a DAB receiver for a digital radio. Then you have options for the navigation. At the moment I'm using this wheel and pressing select in the middle to select rather than using the screen. Some settings for the navigation: voice prompt, route criteria, TMC options if you want traffic information, and so on. Display. You have automatic mode, or you have day mode, or you have night mode. Automatic mode depending on the light circumstances. I think this is the most convenient one. You have vehicle settings, climate control, fan speed, air quality sensor options, and so on. So there are actually a lot of settings you can do yourself in this model. Comfort and convenience, auto mirror tilt in reverse, which means that when you're in reverse, that mirror will automatically tilt, which will enable you to make a parking without scratching the wheels, which is quite good. Comfort closing mirror fold. When you do the comfort closing I was talking about before, the mirrors fold automatically. You can of course disable this. Park assist, collision detection. Park assist is on. Exterior ambient lighting. When exiting the vehicle, you have 30 seconds of light. Power lock doors, auto door unlock and auto door lock, either disable or enable. Remote lock, unlock start. If you unlock the vehicle, you get exterior lighting. Turn that on or off. Personalization by remote control. This I talked about earlier. You have two remotes, you have two settings for the different drivers. If you forgot your remote in the vehicle, you get the reminder. Actually, that's the horn honking. Restore factory settings. So if you have made some major changes and you want to go back to the factory settings, you can just choose this one. The sport setting, that's interesting. So if you go into sport mode, as I showed before, these are the options you have. You have sport suspension, powertrain performance, steering, and all-wheel drive. This stiffens up the suspension. This changes the gear pattern. This stiffens up the steering. And this will send more torque to the rear wheels. And yes, this car is equipped with an electronic slip differential, so it can distribute the power between the left and the right wheel independently. And the phone settings, of course. If you have connected your phone via Bluetooth, it should be here in the device list. And yes, there's my Samsung Galaxy S7. And time, the last one. You can set the time manually, of course. So that was everything in the config menu. The car is also equipped with a Harman Kardon amplifier, which means it has Dolby Digital, DTS and so on when playing a DVD movie or a DVD audio. So you have a tone button here, where you can control the sound. So depending on the sound system you have, either you have DSP or you don't. So here you can control the bass, the middle and the treble, the balance and the fader, equalizer setting, manual or talk. Manual, it's this. Talk, that's something else. It just changes the bass and the treble. Let's go back into tone. Look at DSP setting. Here you can select the 2.0 or the Harman Kardon surround. So if you change to the Harman Kardon surround, you get a much richer sound experience. At least that's what I think. It all depends on the source of the audio, of course. If you have crappy things coming in, crappy things are coming out. So that was the tone configuration. Moving on to the different features, as I mentioned, you have a hard drive. You have a 10 GB hard drive, so you can record things from the CD or from a USB stick. You also have the possibility to time shift the radio. So if you're listening to radio, you can press pause and the audio will be recorded onto the hard drive. I think it's 20 or 30 minutes of information on the hard drive. So if you want to pause this for 10 minutes, for example, and then you want to continue where you ended, you just pause and you press play, and then it will play from the hard drive while recording the new stuff. It's kind of a time shift function if you're familiar with that from video recorders. This was everything about the navigation. This has older maps. I think it's 2009 and I plan to upgrade them to 2013. Okay, so that was everything for the audio and navigation. Let's move on into the back seat and have a look at the rear entertainment system. It's quite roomy in here. You have a center armrest with cup holders, ski hatch, some storage. Here you have the remote control for the entertainment system, and you have a pair of headphones. You get 2 headphones with the car, one for each passenger here in the back. And those headphones are for the entertainment system. As you saw in the introduction or the intro of the video, I was sitting in the back seat watching a movie. By the way, if you know what movie it is, please write that in the comment section. You have screens here in the back, and they are turned on if we have a source with information for them. For example, a DVD. Here you have IR controls for the remote. The controls are on the left side of the car, not on the right side. So here you will have the movie displayed while having the headphones with the audio. You also have a CVBS input for video. Same goes for the other side. You have this as well if you want to connect some source for video showing on the screen instead of the DVD in the car. There are some other things as well. As you can see down here, it's a bit dark. You have controls for audio. You also have an input with video and audio left-right. By connecting something here, it will display on this and on this, of course. So you can buy an HDMI converter to CVBS, for example, and you can connect a source with HDMI to show on the screens. As I mentioned before, this is a 3-zone climate controlled car, so you have heat, distribution and fan speed, all independently of the front. It's quite roomy in here, but I can imagine if you're a tall person, your head would be touching the liner, I guess. So you can't be too tall. Space here for the legs, that's really good. You have a lot of space back here. Same for the front as in the back. You have green ambient light in the door handle and in the pocket that's in the door. Here in the back you have speaker. So if you have the Harman Kardon system, you have coaxial speakers in the rear. So if you don't have this system, they are just speaker grills. There's nothing below them. In the roof you have reading lights for the passengers back here as well. Also LED, of course. Let's take a look at the boot. And the same goes for the boot. LED lights on the left side and on the right side. The boot is quite spacious, I think. You have this U-rail to separate things when having some cargo. You have this that will prevent you from scraping the bumper. This is an accessory that you can buy, a SAAB original. You can control this U-rail by pressing the button here, like this, all around. And of course, why not the Hirsch umbrella? You actually have an umbrella holder here that can hold an umbrella, or you can just use the hooks here for groceries, bags, etc. You can see the speakers. That's in the Harman Kardon system. Some storage here. First aid kit. Same on the other side. Kind of reflex vest, I think, in case of a emergency or accident. Some hooks. Yeah, that's it, I think. So you can actually fit a lot of stuff here, bags, whatever, and you can use this to secure the cargo. Handle for closing. Okay guys, that was part 2 of the review of the new generation 9.5. So we have covered the interior and all the different features. If you have any questions regarding the car, the different features, how they work and so on, just put that in the comment section and I will try to answer it as fast and as good as possible. So, what are we looking forward to for the next video? I plan on doing 3 parts. So this was the second, and the third will be about the driving. How is it to drive the new generation 9.5? The different settings that you saw, comfort, intelligent and sport. How does that affect the impressions of the car when it's on the road? So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section. See you next time, guys. Bye.